I told my youngest son to forget about it after his older brother stole his wife. Then he cut off all contact with us. Blocked everyone in the family and said, "Hopefully Sam is worth losing your own son." I'm sitting alone at the dinner table on my 60th birthday. In front of me is a cake I can't bring myself to cut, candles I haven't lit, and a generic birthday card addressed to my eldest son Sam and his wife Iris, the woman who used to be his brother's wife. And right next to me is an empty chair. The chair I habitually reserve every year, even though I know it will never come. And there's that chair, the one I set out this morning out of habit, then stared at for 20 minutes before I accepted he wasn't coming. He's never coming. But I need to back up because this didn't start today. It started 12 years ago with a phone call I thought I handled perfectly. It was a Tuesday. I remember because I'd just gotten home from my book club when my phone rang. Owen, my younger son, 28 at the time, working as a park ranger 2 hours north. His voice cracked when I answered. "Mom, Iris left me." I froze. Owen and Iris had been married 3 years. High school sweethearts. The kind of love story you root for. She was a freelance photographer. He was outdoorsy and steady. They seemed solid. "What happened?" I asked. "I don't know." He sounded gutted. "She said we weren't working anymore. That she needed space. Packed her stuff 3 weeks ago and moved in with her sister." I thought she just needed time. But she called this morning and said it's over officially. I did what any mother would do. I told him I was sorry. That breakup's hurt, but he'd get through it. That sometimes marriages just don't work out and it's nobody's fault. He thanked me, said he'd call me later, hung up. I felt terrible for him, but I also thought, well, at least they didn't have kids. Clean break. 2 weeks later, my older son Sam called. Sam's a pilot, confident, charming, always got along with everyone. He's 4 years older than Owen. And growing up, they were close. Not best friends, but brothers. Solid. "Mom," he said. And I could hear the hesitation. "I need to tell you something. And I need you to hear me out before you react." My stomach dropped. Iris and I are together. Silence. My brain scrambled. "What?" "I know how this sounds," he said quickly. "But it's not what you think. After she left Owen, she was a mess. She reached out to me because she didn't want to bother you guys, and I listened. We started talking more and something happened. We didn't plan it. Mom, it just did." I couldn't speak. "She left Owen because their marriage wasn't working." Sam continued. "This happened after, I swear." I wanted to scream. I wanted to ask him what the hell he was thinking. But I didn't because Sam sounded earnest, almost guilty. And when I called Iris later that day, she said the same thing. "I left Owen because we grew apart," she said, voice steady. Sam and I connecting afterward. It wasn't planned, but it's real. I wanted to believe them. God, I wanted to believe them because the alternative that my older son had been involved with his brother's wife before the split was unthinkable. So, I told myself, maybe it really did happen after. Maybe it was just unfortunate timing. People grieve in weird ways. Maybe this is just life being messy. Then Owen called again. "Did Sam tell you?" His voice was flat. "He did." And I hesitated. "Owen, I know this is painful, but if Iris left you first, Mom," he cut me off. "She left me and 2 weeks later she's with my brother." "You really think that just happened?" "I'm not saying it's not complicated," I said carefully. "But honey, marriages end and people move on. You need to don't." His voice turned cold. "Don't tell me to move on." "I'm not choosing sides," I said. "I'm trying to keep this family together. Sam is your brother. Iris as well. She's going through something, too. You all are. But we're family. We work through things." Long silence. "Owen." "Okay, Mom," he finally said, voice empty. "I understand." Then he hung up. I told myself he'd cool off, that he was hurt and angry, and in a few weeks, we'd talk it through. I'd mediate. We'd all sit down like adults and move past this. I called him 3 days later to check in. The number was disconnected. I tried his work line. They said he'd requested an immediate transfer. Wouldn't say where. I drove to his apartment that weekend. Empty. Lease terminated. Forwarding address? None. Owen was gone. I panicked for about 48 hours. I panicked. Called his old friends, his coworkers, anyone who might know where he went. Most didn't know. The ones who did wouldn't tell me. He asked us not to. One of his ranger buddies said, "Sorry, Mrs. H. Sorry, I can't." My husband, Owen, and Sam's father was the one who finally tracked down Owen's new number through the Park Service HR department, some station in Montana, middle of nowhere. I called immediately. It rang and rang. Voicemail. I left a message. "Owen, it's Mom. Please call me back. I'm worried about you. I love you." He didn't call back. I tried again 2 days later and again a week after that. Sometimes it went to voicemail. Sometimes it rang endlessly. He never answered. My husband sat me down one night about a month after Owen disappeared. "You really think Iris left Owen and immediately fell for Sam?" He asked. You don't find that suspicious? I'm not accusing Sam without proof, I said. And even if something was going on before, what am I supposed to do? Disown him? Turn my back on my older son because of suspicions? No, he said quietly. But you could have told Owen you understood why he was hurt. You could have not defended them. I didn't defend anyone. I stayed neutral. He looked at me like I'd said something in a foreign language. There's no neutral here. I changed the subject. 6 months after Owen left, Sam and Iris moved in together. Sam called to tell me, sounded almost nervous. I told him I was happy for them. And I was, or I convinced myself I was, because what else could I be? I helped them pick out a couch. Iris sent me photos of their new apartment. They looked happy. I told myself, see, this is real. They're building something. I didn't let myself think about what they'd torn down to build it. Thanksgiving that first year, I set the table for 4. Me, my husband, Sam, Iris, and I set a 5th place for Owen. My husband asked, why'd you do that? In case he shows up. He didn't say anything. Just looked at me with this sad, tired expression I didn't understand yet. Owen didn't show up. The plate sat empty through the entire meal. I packed it away after everyone left and cried in the kitchen for 20 minutes. 2 days later, my phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. You chose them. You chose peace over truth. Don't pretend you're neutral. I stared at it for a long time. Then I deleted it. Didn't respond. Told myself Owen was being dramatic. He'd come around eventually. Year 2, Sam and Iris got married. Small ceremony at a vineyard, maybe 30 people. I wore a lavender dress and smiled in every photo. Iris looked beautiful. Sam looked proud. My husband stood beside me, stiff, barely smiling. Owen wasn't invited. Sam said he thought about it but decided it would be too awkward. Iris agreed. I didn't argue. When relatives asked where Owen was, I said he's working out of state. Couldn't make it. My sister pulled me aside at the reception. Doesn't this feel wrong to you? What do you mean? Your son's wife leaves him and 5 minutes later she's marrying his brother and you're just okay with it? They're both my sons. I said firmly. I won't punish Sam for falling in love. She didn't push it, but I saw the look she gave me. The same look my husband had been giving me for months. I ignored it. I found out Owen had transferred to a remote ranger station in Montana through a mutual contact. Totally off-grid, no cell service, only reachable by email during certain hours when he had satellite access. I sent him emails, lots of them. Subject, thinking of you. Subject, please talk to me. Subject, I miss you. None of them bounced. So, I knew he was getting them. He just never responded. My husband asked me once, do you really not see what you did? I didn't do anything. I said, Owen's the one who cut us off. You told him to get over it. I told him to move forward. That's different. Not to him it wasn't. I didn't want to hear it. So, I stopped talking about Owen around my husband and he stopped bringing him up. We just moved on like I'd told Owen to do. Sam and Iris's life became my life. Sunday dinners, birthdays, holidays. I posted photos of us online sometimes, then deleted them, worried Owen might see, but mostly I just kept living. Kept pretending the empty chair at every gathering was normal. I told people Owen was thriving in Montana, doing important conservation work, that we stayed in touch. I said it so many times I almost believed it. Christmas year 2, I was putting up the tree when the mail came. Bills, cards from friends, and one envelope with no return address. I opened it. A plain card, no holiday message. Just Owen's handwriting. Neat and deliberate. Stop pretending you didn't choose. Nothing else. No signature. No explanation. I stood there holding it, hands shaking. My husband walked in, saw my face. What is it? I handed it to him. He read it, looked at me. He's right, you know. I didn't choose. I whispered. Yeah. He said softly. You did. I threw the card away, told myself Owen was being cruel. My husband didn't argue with me about it. He just got quieter. We stopped talking about Owen entirely. Stopped mentioning the empty chair. It became this unspoken void in our house that we both walked around. Year 3. Sam called with news. Iris is pregnant. I screamed, literally screamed with joy. My first grandchild. I drove to their place with baby books and a stuffed bear and congratulations champagne. Iris was glowing. Sam looked terrified in that new dad way. I hugged them both and told them they'd be amazing parents. I took a photo of the 3 of us. Iris's hand on her stomach. Sam's arm around her. Me beaming. I almost sent it to Owen. Typed out an email. You're going to be an uncle. I stared at it for 10 minutes, then deleted it. What was the point? The baby came in October. A girl. They named her something beautiful that I won't share here because she deserves privacy. But holding her for the first time, I felt complete. I sent Owen one email. Just one. Attached a photo of her. Subject line. Your niece. No response. I checked my inbox obsessively for weeks. Nothing. My husband asked me, "Why do you keep torturing yourself?" I'm not. I just thought maybe a baby would change things. It won't. He was right. I found out Owen got married through my sister. Year 4. We were having coffee and she mentioned she'd run into one of Owen's old friends at the grocery store. He said Owen got married last year. Some woman he met in Montana. Outdoor educator or something. Sounds nice. The coffee cup froze halfway to my lips. He's married? You didn't know? I shook my head, felt something crack inside my chest. Owen got married and didn't tell us. Didn't invite us. We didn't even know he was seeing someone. I went home and cried in the shower so my husband wouldn't hear. That night, I tried calling the Montana number I had. It rang twice, then went dead. When I tried again, it was disconnected. He changed it. I sent an email. I heard you got married. Congratulations. I wish I could have been there. It didn't bounce, but he never replied. Year 5, my sister mentioned Owen had a kid. Year 6, another one. I was a grandmother 4 times over. I'd met 2 of my grandchildren, held them, watched them grow. The other 2 were strangers. I didn't know their names. Didn't know if they were boys or girls at first. Had to piece it together from vague comments from distant relatives who still had contact with Owen. Sam's daughter started asking questions around age 4. Grandma, do I have cousins? Yes. Sweetheart. Where are they? Far away. Uncle Owen lives in Montana. Can we visit? I smiled. Maybe someday. I was lying to a 4-year-old. And I was lying to myself. Holidays became split. Thanksgiving with Sam's family. Christmas often just me and my husband because Sam and Iris traveled to her parents. I took photos every gathering. But I never posted them. Never framed them. They sat in my phone unseen because they felt incomplete. My husband stopped smiling in pictures around year 5. I asked him once what was wrong. Nothing. You seem distant. I'm fine. He wasn't. But I didn't push because pushing meant talking about Owen. And talking about Owen meant confronting things I wasn't ready to confront. People at church at my job would ask, "How are your boys?" "Great. Sam's a pilot. Owen's doing conservation work in Montana. Busy, but good." "Do you see Owen much?" "Not as much as I'd like. You know how it is with kids who move away." Smile. Change subject. Repeat. The lie became muscle memory. Year 6. I noticed Sam drinking more at dinners. Iris looked tired. They bickered about small things, dishes, schedules, whose turn it was to put their daughter to bed. I asked Sam once if everything was okay. "Yeah, Mom. Just life." I didn't ask again because asking meant potentially hearing that their marriage, the one Owen lost everything over, wasn't even happy. Year 7 started with a phone call at 3 a.m. My husband had a heart attack. Massive. The paramedics said he was gone before they arrived. I don't remember much of the next week. Planning the funeral, calling relatives, moving through fog. Sam handled most of it. Iris was kind, brought food, watched me like I might shatter. I didn't think about Owen. I was too numb. The funeral was on a Saturday. Small, maybe 50 people. I sat in the front row between Sam and Iris, staring at the closed casket, wondering how 12 years had passed, and I was here without my husband, without one of my sons. The service started. The pastor spoke. I didn't hear any of it. Then I felt it. A shift in the air. I turned. Owen was standing in the back. I barely recognized him. He'd filled out. Muscular in a way he hadn't been before. Beard. Lines around his eyes. He wore a dark suit, hands clasped in front of him, expression unreadable. Our eyes met. He didn't smile, didn't nod, I just looked at me. I started to stand. He shook his head slightly. Stayed where he was. The service continued. I couldn't focus, kept glancing back. Owen stood there, perfectly still, alone. When it ended, people lined up to hug me. I accepted condolences, searching over their shoulders for Owen. He waited until the crowd thinned. Then he walked up. We stood facing each other. 5 years since I'd seen him. He looked good, healthy, put together, like someone who'd built a whole life I knew nothing about. "Mom," he said quietly. "Owen." My voice broke. He pulled me into a hug. Brief. Stiff. Then let go. "I'm sorry for your loss," he said. "Thank you for coming." He nodded, glanced past me at Sam, who was watching from 10 feet away. They didn't speak, didn't acknowledge each other. "I need to go," Owen said. "Wait, can we talk, please?" "Not today." "Then when?" He looked at me with something like pity. "Take care of yourself, Mom." Then he walked out. I watched him get into a truck I didn't recognize and drive away. I didn't see him again after that. That night, I went through my husband's things. His desk, his files, his laptop. I found an email folder labeled O. Opened it. Years of messages. My husband and Owen. Not frequent. Maybe once every few months. Short exchanges. Updates. Hope you're well. Congrats on the promotion. The girls are beautiful. The girls. My husband had known about Owen's daughters. Had seen photos. Had been part of their lives in some small way and he'd never told me. The last email was from 6 months before he died. Owen, Dad, I love you, but I can't forgive Mom for pretending what Sam did was okay. She asked me to move on so she could be comfortable. I've moved on. Just not the way she wanted. Give her my best. But don't tell her we talk. It'll just hurt her more. My husband, I understand. I'm proud of you, son. You deserved better from both of us. I sat there at his desk staring at the screen until my vision blurred. My husband had chosen in private where it wouldn't cost him his marriage. He'd chosen Owen and I'd never known. I closed the laptop, sat there in my husband's chair for hours. The house silent. Sam had gone home. Iris had taken their daughter. I was alone with the truth I'd been avoiding for 7 years. My husband understood what I'd done. He just couldn't say it without choosing between us. So, he loved Owen quietly from a distance, giving him what I couldn't, validation that he wasn't crazy, that he had a right to be hurt, and he'd stayed married to me anyway. I don't know if that made it better or worse. The next 2 years, I spiraled. Not dramatically. I didn't fall apart. I kept working, kept showing up to Sam's family dinners, kept living. But inside, something was eating at me. I became obsessed with fixing it, with making the family whole. I told myself that's what my husband would have wanted, that his dying wish was for his sons to reconcile. It wasn't. I knew that, but I told myself anyway. Year 8, I hired a private investigator to find Owen's current contact information. Got an address in Montana, a phone number, an email. The investigator even found his wife's name, his daughter's names. I stared at those names for hours. My granddaughters, 7 and 5 years old. I'd never met them, never held them. Didn't know if they liked dolls or dinosaurs or books. I called the number. It went to voicemail. Generic message. Leave your name and number. I hung up without saying anything. Tried again the next day and the day after. It always went to voicemail. I never left a message until the 10th try. Owen. It's Mom. My voice shook. I miss you. Please. Let's talk. He never called back. Year 9. Sam got drunk at Thanksgiving. Just the 3 of us, me, Sam, Iris, their daughter was at a friend's house. We'd finished eating and Sam had poured himself a 3rd glass of wine. Then a 4th. Mom, he said suddenly. Do you think Owen hates me? I froze. We never talked about Owen anymore. Unspoken rule. He's just stubborn, I said carefully. Sometimes Sam stared into his glass. Sometimes I wonder if Iris and I started before she left him. I don't remember anymore. It was so long ago. My stomach dropped. Iris went pale. Sam, don't. No, I'm serious. He looked at me, eyes unfocused. I remember us talking while she was still married to him about deep stuff, life stuff. And I remember thinking she was beautiful and feeling guilty about it, but I don't remember when it became more. It was after, Iris said quickly. Sam, you're drunk. It was after I left, was it? The room went silent. I should have asked. Should have pushed. Should have demanded the truth right there. Instead, I said, it doesn't matter now. It was a long time ago. Sam laughed bitterly. Yeah. Sure. Iris drove him home early. I sat alone in my dining room, staring at the half-empty wine bottle, feeling something cold settle in my chest. Year 10. I noticed things I've been ignoring. Iris mentioned that cabin Sam and I used to escape to during a casual conversation. When was that? I asked. Oh, years ago. Before everything. She smiled. Simpler times. I didn't ask what before everything meant. I didn't want to know. Sam started seeing a therapist. Told me it was for stress. I didn't push. Their marriage looked tired, not fighting, not dramatic, just exhausted, like 2 people who'd been running from something for so long they'd forgotten why they started running. Year 11, my 60th birthday was approaching. I became fixated on it. This would be it, the moment. I'd get both my sons in one room. We'd talk, we'd heal, we'd take a family photo. Finally, I started planning 6 months out. Venue, guest list, menu, I threw myself into it. Sam asked me one day, Mom, are you inviting Owen? Of course. He looked uncomfortable. Do you think he'll come? I'm going to ask him. Mom, he sighed. I don't think. It's my birthday, I said firmly. I want both my sons there. That's all I'm asking for. He didn't argue. I spent weeks preparing what I'd say to Owen. Practiced in the mirror, wrote it down, rewrote it. I needed his current number. The one I had was 4 years old, probably disconnected. I called the park service. They wouldn't give it to me. Tried his old friends. Same answer. Finally, I found it online. A staff directory for Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Parks. Regional Director Owen. Last name, Work number listed. My hand shook as I dialed. It rang once, twice. I almost hung up 3 times. Then this is Owen. His voice deeper than I remembered. Confident, steady. I couldn't breathe. Hello, he said. Owen. It came out as a whisper, it's Mom. Silence long enough that I thought he'd hung up. Then I know, not angry, not surprised. Just neutral. I swallowed. I'm turning 60 next month. I need both my sons there. Please. Another pause. Is Sam coming? Yes. But this isn't about him. It's about family. About closure. Closure for who? Mom? The question hit like a slap for all of us. I said, Owen, it's been 12 years. Don't you want to move past this? I moved past it a decade ago. His voice was calm, almost kind. You're the one still stuck. I'm not stuck. I love you both equally. He laughed. Quiet, bitter. No, you don't. You love your peace more than my pain. You love the idea of family more than the truth of what Sam did. What do you want me to do? My voice cracked. Disown Sam, he's my son, too. I never asked you to disown him. Owen's voice stayed level. I asked you to acknowledge that what he did was wrong. That Iris leaving me and immediately being with him wasn't unfortunate timing. It was betrayal and you asked me to get over it so you didn't have to feel uncomfortable. I opened my mouth. Nothing came out. You chose neutrality, Owen continued. You chose not making waves. You chose your comfort and you called it love. Owen, please, if Sam is there, I'm not. You can't be serious. I'm completely serious. His voice stayed steady. Certain. And if that's your choice, then I hope Sam was worth losing your real son over. Owen, wait. The line went dead. I called back immediately. Straight to a generic voicemail. Tried again. Same thing. Sent a text. Please just listen. It turned green. A message failed. He blocked me. Email. I'm sorry. Please talk to me. It bounced. He'd erased me completely like I'd never existed. I sat on my kitchen floor, phone in my hand, and finally understood. Owen wasn't coming back. He never was. I went through with the party. What else was I going to do? Cancel it? Admit to everyone that my son had blocked me? That I'd spent 12 years pretending everything was fine and it had all been a lie? So, I put on a dress, did my makeup, smiled when people arrived. Sam came with Iris and their daughter. My granddaughter ran up and hugged me and I held her tight, trying to feel something other than empty. Happy birthday, Grandma. Thank you, sweetheart. Sam hugged me. Stiff. He knew. Didn't ask, but he knew. Iris handed me a card and a bottle of wine. You look beautiful. I thanked her, took photos, smiled until my face hurt. People started asking within the first hour. Where's Owen? I haven't seen him in years. Work. I said he couldn't make it. That's too bad. What's he up to these days? Conservation work. Montana. He's doing really well. Smile. Redirect. Repeat. My sister pulled me aside in the kitchen. He's not coming, is he? No. Did you ask him? I nodded. Couldn't speak. She hugged me. Didn't say anything else. What was there to say? We took the family photo I'd wanted. Me in the center, Sam on one side, arm around me, Iris on the other, holding their daughter. The photographer counted down. 3, 2, 1 smile. Click. I looked at the preview on the camera screen. We looked complete, happy, like a normal family. The empty space where Owen should have been was invisible. Only I could see it. 2 hours into the party, Sam found me on the back porch. Mom, I need to tell you something. I turned. He looked terrible. Eyes red. He'd been drinking. Iris and I are separating. The world tilted. What? We've been trying to make it work for years. But he ran a hand through his hair. She can't stop feeling guilty. Says we built everything on something broken and she can't live with it anymore. I couldn't breathe. Sam. I thought time would fix it. He said quietly, I really did, but she says every time she looks at me, she thinks about Owen, about what we did. What you did? I heard myself ask. He looked at me. Really? Looked at me. Mom, it started before she left him. We both know that. I think we've always known that. There it was. Finally. The truth. I'd spent 12 years avoiding. How long before? My voice was barely a whisper. Does it matter? Yes. He shook his head. I don't know. 6 months? 8. We didn't. Nothing physical happened until after she moved out. But emotionally, he laughed bitterly. Yeah, we were gone long before that. I sat down hard on the porch step. I'm sorry. Sam said. I know that doesn't fix anything, but I'm sorry. He went back inside. I sat there staring at nothing. The family had sacrificed Owen for was disintegrating and it had been built on exactly what Owen said it was. Later that night, Iris found me in the bathroom. I was reapplying lipstick, hands shaking. I tried to reach out to Owen, she said suddenly. Last year, found his work email. Wrote him an apology. I froze. What did he say? He wrote back once. Said, I forgave you years ago, but I'll never forget what my mother did. She paused. He wasn't angry, just indifferent. And somehow that hurt worse than if he'd yelled. She touched my shoulder. I'm sorry for all of it. Then she left. I stared at myself in the mirror. Saw what Owen must have seen 12 years ago when I told him to move on. Someone more concerned with keeping the peace than doing what was right. That night, after everyone left, I sat alone with my laptop, searched Owen's wife's name, found her Instagram public. I scrolled through years of photos. Owen at a campfire with his daughters. Owen teaching them to fish. Owen laughing at some joke I'd never hear. His wife's captions were full of love, gratitude, wholeness. One post from 2 years ago, grateful for the family we built from scratch. No baggage, just love. No baggage. I was the baggage it left behind. I wrote him one last email. Poured everything out. Every apology, every regret, every truth I've been too scared to face. Subject: I understand now. Owen, I won't ask you to forgive me. I don't deserve it, but I need you to know I finally see what I did. You were right. I chose them. I chose my comfort over your pain. I told myself I was being mature, fair, neutral. But I was just being a coward. Sam told me tonight that it started before Iris left you. I think I always knew. I just didn't want to admit what that meant because admitting it meant acknowledging that I'd asked you to swallow something unforgivable just so I could pretend we were all okay. You deserved better. You deserved a mother who stood by you, who called betrayal what it was, who loved you enough to risk making things uncomfortable. I hope you're happy. I mean that. I hope your daughters know how lucky they are. I hope your wife knows what a good man she has. I'm sorry I never did. Mom. I hit send. It bounced immediately. Domain not found. He blocked my email address at the server level. I closed the laptop, sat in the dark. It was over, really truly over. The next morning, I found a package in my mailbox. Small padded envelope. No return address. Postmarked Montana. My hand shook as I opened it. Inside a photograph. Owen and Iris's wedding. 12 years ago. Me standing next to Iris, beaming arm around her shoulders. Sam on Iris's other side. Owen cut out of the frame. Must have been cropped after. Stuck to the photo. A yellow post-it note. Owen's handwriting. You were there for her. Never for me. Oh. I stood in my kitchen holding the photo and finally broke. I didn't cry for long. Not because I didn't want to. But because somewhere in that kitchen staring at that photo, I realized crying wasn't going to change anything. Owen had sent me a message. Final clear. And he'd done it the only way I'd apparently understand, by showing me exactly who I'd been 12 years ago. I'd stood next to the woman who destroyed my son's marriage and smiled. And I'd told him to get over it. I stopped lying to myself after that. Threw away the cropped photos. The ones where I'd carefully framed out the empty spaces. Stopped telling people Owen was busy with work. When someone asked about him now, I said, we're not in touch. Most people didn't push. The ones who did got the truth. I made choices that hurt him. He's moved on without me. My sister asked once if I was okay. No, I said, but I deserve to not be okay. Sam and Iris's divorce finalized 3 months after my birthday. He moved to a different city, took a job with a regional airline. I see my granddaughter twice a year now. She's growing up barely knowing me. Iris remarried a year later. Someone kind from what I hear. They moved out of state. The family I'd protected had scattered anyway. All that sacrifice, all that neutrality. And for what? I tried one more time to reach Owen. Not to apologize again, not to beg, just to know. I called the Montana Park Service, asked for his office. The receptionist transferred me. It rang 3 times. A woman answered. Professional, polite, regional director's office. I'm trying to reach Owen. May I ask who's calling? I hesitated. His mother. Long pause. 1 moment. I waited, heart pounding. She came back. I'm sorry. He's unavailable. Is there a message? No, thank you. I hung up. He told them not to put me through. I was blocked even at his workplace. I started seeing a therapist, not to fix things with Owen. That ship had sailed, sunk, and been forgotten at the bottom of the ocean, but to understand what I'd done, why I'd done it. She asked me once, why do you think you stayed neutral? I thought I was being fair. Were you? I sat with that. No. I was being a coward. Losing Sam would have been harder. Owen was stronger, so I expected him to carry the weight. And now I know that neutrality isn't wisdom when someone's been betrayed. It's just taking the betrayer's side with extra steps. She didn't disagree. Through mutual acquaintances, I learned Owen's doing well, promoted twice. His daughters are in middle school now. One plays soccer, the other's into art. His wife published a book about wildlife conservation. They bought land in Montana building a life. He never mentions us, not even to extended family who ask. As far as his story goes, his family started with his wife. We don't exist. I updated my will. Split it 3 ways. A third to Sam, a third to Owen's daughters in a trust they'll receive at 18. A third to a wildlife conservation charity in Owen's name. The trust has a note from a grandmother who loved you but never earned the right to know you. Owen can't refuse it for them. And maybe when they're adults, they'll understand that their grandmother wasn't a good person, but she tried to do one thing right at the end. I wrote Owen one final letter. Not to send, just to say, you were right about everything. I chose peace over truth. I chose my comfort over your pain. I asked you to be the bigger person because I was too small to do what was right. I told myself maybe it wasn't cheating. Maybe it started after. But I knew. I saw the way they looked at each other before Iris left. I saw Sam's guilt and I looked away because admitting it meant losing him. So, I lost you instead. I thought I was being fair. But fairness isn't treating betrayal and betrayal's victim the same. It's standing with the person who was hurt, even when it's uncomfortable. You taught me what it means to have a spine. I just learned it 12 years too late. I burned the letter in my fireplace. Watched the paper curl and blacken and disappear. It wasn't about him forgiving me anymore. It was about me accepting that I didn't deserve his forgiveness. I look at that photo sometimes, the one Owen sent. Me with my arm around Iris, beaming like nothing was wrong. I keep it in a drawer, not on display, not thrown away, just there, a reminder. I wanted both my sons. I told myself I could have both without consequence. But what I really did was protect the son who betrayed and push away the one who was betrayed. I called it neutrality, called it fairness, called it love. Owen called it what it was, a choice. Sam called me last week. We don't talk often anymore. The distance between us isn't angry, just tired. I saw Owen's name in a conservation journal, he said. Article about wolf reintroduction. He looked good. That's good. I wrote him an email, Sam said quietly. Apologized. Told him I understood if he never wanted to speak to me again. Did he respond? No. We sat in silence for a moment. Mom. Sam said. I think he was right about all of it. I know. I'm sorry I put you in that position. You didn't. I said. I put myself there. I'm 61 now, alone most days. My husband's been gone 4 years. My sons are strangers to me in different ways. I didn't lose Owen in one moment. I lost him the second I asked him to forget the unforgivable for my comfort. He handled it quietly like a man who'd rebuilt himself from scratch. He didn't scream, didn't beg, didn't give me chances to explain or apologize or make it about my feelings. He just walked and now he's gone. No drama, no second chances, just silence. And the worst part, he was right. Sam wasn't worth it. The peace wasn't worth it. Nothing was worth losing my son who'd done nothing wrong except expect his mother to stand by him. I can't undo it. Can't fix it. Can't earn forgiveness I was never entitled to in the first place. All I can do is sit with what I did. And remember that neutrality when someone you love is hurting isn't kindness. It's betrayal. I chose wrong. Owen walked away, and the silence is permanent. I earned every second of it. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you really like our videos, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Have a great day.